Hello, and it's Motivational Monday, 9 o'clock, and the subject today is motivation in 3 easy steps. So those of you who don't know me, I'm Cheryl Andrews. I'm the founder of Step by Step Listening. I'm also known as the Listening Detective. And what do we do? Well, the truth is I've been working that out over the last 12 years, and I think I've now got it in one sentence. But basically, we're teaching you how to listen to feedback in a way that inspires motivated action. Because what you listen to in terms of your own inner voice, but also what you hear, see, and experience outside, how you make sense of it, and then how you decide to act on it will ultimately determine whether you get to do more of what you love, and more importantly, that you learn to love what you have to do. There are some stuff in life that we just have to do. And depending on the feedback we give ourselves or the feedback other people give us, we can get demotivated and we can talk about it from a critical point of view, which often depletes our energy, but also depletes our problem-solving capacity. So today, what I want to do is I just want to share with you a 3-step process for motivation, and I've actually called it motivation in 3 easy steps. And I want you to notice whether or not you got pulled into this video because of the word easy or the word motivation. Because often what we'll do is we'll take that feedback as, oh, if it's simple, I can do that. Because when we're demotivated, we've often got a lack of energy, we're very exhausted, and our resources in our brain to think about things becomes much more reduced. And so therefore we will tend to source or want it to sound simple. But the reality with most things, if we want them to change, we have to go through a process, and we have to do repeated action, and we have to give and receive feedback in order to measure progress as we go along to maintain motivation. So what I want to do today is I want to share with you a PowerPoint. So I'm just going to get that up for us now quickly. So let's just get this one here and talk you through the 3-step strategy. So I think we've got it yet. We're all there. Fabulous. So with the 3-step strategy then, we have got clarity is the first thing. So I want you to think about, and I'm going to leave you with some questions at the end. What is it you want? Why do you want it, and who do you want it for? Quite often when I talk to people, when I ask them what they'd like to have happen, they will give me a statement. So right now for this video, write down the thing that you want, and then every single word in that statement, think about what do you mean by what you say. So if you say, I want to have a successful business, what kind of successful? What kind of business? When I want a successful business, what kind of I and what kind of want? Get really clear. I mean, have absolute clarity of what do you mean by what you say. Look the words up in the dictionary. Ask other people what those words mean to them. And make sure that you are absolutely clear what you mean by what you say. Because when you get feedback from your own system and other people about whether you're making progress or getting there or not, if you don't have clarity of what the whole thing is you're working towards in the first place, you have nothing to measure against. And most of the time when I work with people, the number one reason they're not got motivation is they don't have a real deep sense of clarity. They'll just say, I want to be more motivated, or I want to be happy, I want to be successful. And they're non-tangible things for the brain to be able to measure and calibrate against. So when you get clarity of what you mean by what you say, then you are going to, some people, that's enough for motivation to happen because they know what to do, but they also know how to monitor feedback to make sure it's working. Second thing then, think about why do you want it? What's the consequences and the impact of having this thing? So when you have a successful business or you're happier, the impact is what happens? And then it's think about who. What happens to you? What happens to your family? What happens to your clients? What happens to your community, the world? What's the impact? What's the ripple effect? And who is this going to impact? If you don't have clarity of those things, then what happens is you can't set this up for success. If you're ignoring the fact that some people won't be happy with it, and you don't have a strategy for having those conversations with them, some really helpful and honest conversations, your subconscious might already hold you back from doing the things because it's already worked out that somebody's not going to like it. So the first thing is clarity, and you break that down into 3 easy components. What is it you want? Why do you want it? And who do you want it for? The second thing is then when you make a decision to do something, you have to then go and do it, right? You need to take action. And so the number one reason why people don't do things, they're not motivated to do things, is not because they don't know what they want. They have absolute clarity why, what, and who, but they don't have confidence in the first step, or they don't have confidence in the whole process, or they don't have confidence in themselves. So one of the things that you can do is have a look at what the process is. Now, just check with yourself, is it confidence in you, in your initial decision, or the process? So one of the things you can do is think, where if I'm here, you know, if I'm, I don't know, semi-successful and I want to be very successful, you get clear what semi-successful is. What do you actually hear and see that tells you that? And you get very clear about what very successful will be like. And you think about what happens in between. What's the first thing that happens, then what happens? That's about knowing what the process is. But if, as you are thinking about those things, you can have any internal dialogue that you are not confident with it, you are starting to feel unsettled, your own feedback to your own system is, it's thinking about, where does your confidence come from? What can you do to bolster your own confidence? And often the number one reason that when I work with clients is that they lose confidence, they've actually lost that ability to love learning something new. They've lost the ability to fail gracefully and just learn from it fast and move on. Learning means we get things wrong. Learning means we try things, we spend money, we do stuff, and we don't get the results. So sometimes the thing that we've got to do requires us doing the unknown, the unfamiliar. Now, if we know the process and we have confidence in ourselves and our process to do it, we tend to just do it. But if we don't have confidence in ourselves and we don't have confidence in the process, we can get stuck here and we lose motivation. So I want you to think about, what is the one thing that you could do right now to bring the fun back, the curiosity back into learning something new, to be okay with it not working instantly, but to build up a response and a progress report over time. Once we have clarity of what we want, we have confidence in ourselves, we have confidence in the decision itself, and we have confidence in the process, then ultimately we will do something. So it depends where you are on this spectrum. Sometimes you need clarity and you'll go and do it. And sometimes you need to jump to get confidence to be able to come back and do the do. When we do something though, it will give us some kind of feedback, and that will impact our confidence. If the feedback says, yes, we're making progress, it's going at the right pace, it's happening at the right, this is exactly how we expect things to be, confidence generally stays high. If what we do doesn't get us the expected response, then what can happen is that can impact our confidence. And that's when we need to be able to delegate or ask for help. If we don't have the right resources in place, maybe we don't know the process, we don't know that this is normal for us to have a bit of a lull here, it's normal for this pattern to occur in this kind of typical situation, then by delegating and asking for help, by getting someone to teach us what they know, we can maintain confidence in ourselves and the process. Now, the problem here is that when I work with people, is often the reason they can't do any of this is because they don't realize that listening skills are one of the things that you might need help with. You might need somebody to help you listen to yourself to understand your process. You might need someone to listen to you to help you understand how you do you. And so they don't know what kind of help they need. They don't know who to go to, and so they get stuck here and they don't ask for any help. Their confidence diminishes, they don't do anything, and even though they know what they want, they procrastinate. And so one of the major things here might be that if you get stuck here, you may not need someone to do the task for you, but what you might need is to ask for help, for someone to listen to and help you map out your process. How do you at your best, and what works for you? When you've got that kind of help in place, then we're going to deal with change. So the number one reason why we get demotivated is because change is uncomfortable. The brain is hardwired to try and predict what's going to happen so that it can keep you safe. And when change happens, it causes a disruption in our system. Now, some people love the adrenaline buzz of the unknown and the unfamiliar, but generally speaking, our system likes to be able to predict what's happening. And so if you are sensitive to change, and you need some stability, or you've had lots of change going on, often we need to better change the way that we give and receive feedback, and we need to change the kind of network and support that we've got around us. Now, I've noticed over the years when motivation happens is that if someone's normally got loads of clarity and loads of confidence and they suddenly lose motivation, nearly always when we list everything that has already changed in their life, that's when they realize just how much change their system has gone through. And sometimes it might be they've lost, their boss has left. So it's somebody they really had a good confidant relationship with, someone they could go and talk to, but they had the person that could help them listen to themselves. It might be they've gone through divorce, and although obviously the relationship wasn't working, it was the one person in their life that used to tell how they really felt. It might be that they have a bereavement, a loss of a parent. All sorts of things can happen. That means our network of people that usually give us effective feedback to keep us motivated have suddenly gone. And so thinking about motivation right now is thinking about what kind of resource or support do you need in order to manage change? What kind of feedback do you need to hear from yourself and other people in order to get through the change? And also be aware of all changes that's happening. Acknowledge it, accept it, and appreciate it. Some change we can't do anything about, but we can at least appreciate what it's teaching us and be aware that it's happening, and then give ourselves credit for the fact that we're going through that kind of change right now. When we do all that, then we can ditch the stuff that doesn't serve us. When we've got clarity of what we want, we've got confidence in ourselves, and we've got the right network of people around us to change the way we give and receive feedback, then we can ditch tasks, beliefs, and stories that don't serve us. But letting go of stuff is difficult for some people. You know, where your brain sort of hangs on to it. It's the familiar, it's the thing that gives us confidence because it's something that we know. So stepping into the unknown can be challenging. And so learning to be able to ask for help in order to keep going through this cycle is what keeps motivation going in the middle. I hope you found today's video useful. I'm just going to check to see what we've got in here. Got morning, lovely lady. I'd be watching back on replays. Always put fabulous stuff. So I hope you found today's video useful. I'm going to stop there just after 11 minutes. If you want to know anything more about motivation, please comment below, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you've got. Have a fantastic day. Speak to you all soon.